feel or seem a little bit deep, but there's obviously a lot of really important and valuable information in that Wes is trying to get across. Obviously, it's unpacked across 12 weeks. So you could imagine the detail and the thought that's gone into it along with the research and the professionals that actually done the hard yards. But yeah, I think it's really valuable, and having guests and having, I guess, celebrities in their own right who have been through a lot of experiences that I guess a lot of us are facing, and especially the younger generation, and trying to give a little bit of insight so they're better prepared. So on that note, I'll probably open it up with a nice sort of easy one for both of you, Sarah or Joe, or both. What does your slice of heaven look like? Whether it was when you were an athlete, I know both of you are probably still athletes in your own right, still training hard and everything. So what it might have been like in the earlier days as an athlete, your slice of heaven, or maybe, what's your slice of heaven looking like right now?
My slice of heaven, like Sarah, as an athlete, I think early on in my career, I really kind of, and me and Wes kind of talked about this the other day, that our world at the moment is selling discontent. And I think for me, especially in my earlier career, I just wasn't content with who I am. And I think, off the back of, I guess the fears and the shame, that really kind of hampered, I guess, my development early on in my career. But then I think once I realized, especially when I moved over to Australia to pursue my career, and it was pretty much a last throw of the dice for me in terms of rugby league, really kind of made some really bad choices when I was at the Warriors, and when I came to Australia, it was kind of realization for me that I really need to kind of do things a bit differently. And a lot of that was actually understanding that being content with what God's blessed me with, and I wasn't comparing myself like I wasn't the fastest player, or I was just kind of being content with I remember sitting down with the coach at the time, John Lang, and he pretty much really simplified things. He goes, "Man, you just run hard and tackle hard." And I was going, well, that pretty much, I said I pretty much based my career on that. That I was just got to run hard and tackle hard, and that's what and I was really content with that. I guess also to really kind of struggle with was just integrity. I think being a Christian as well, a lot of things that I struggled with, and I think that integrity part for me was, especially in this environment, the NRL, it really kind of challenges that. And I guess for me, it was about something kind of Sarah kind of alluded to in terms of living, to your core values. And I think for myself, especially early on in my career, I just wasn't living to my core values, and that's where the discontent or the chaos, so to speak, was really apparent in my life, both professionally and personally. So I guess when I think about my slice of heaven is being content with who I am, and more importantly, living really as close to my values as possible.
That's awesome. I think just want to touch on the space that you're with now. So with a lot of that pathway, the early athletes coming through, what do you think is robbing probably a lot of those athletes in this day, in terms of their slice of heaven?
I think a lot of we always say that our players are a snapshot of society, and that we, especially in this current day and age, where we've got a lot of young people coming into elite sport, in particular rugby league, that come from really challenging backgrounds, and there's always context to behaviour, and and I think a lot of the traits that you guys shared on the screen there, those are just surface. They're just symptoms of something, of a root problem, and I think a lot of my work is being able to kind of unpack, especially for young players that come from those top backgrounds, is to really unpack what that is. And again, you just don't end up being a bad person for no reason, or you end up in trouble for no reason. There's an environment that plays a big part in those choices that you make. So I think a lot of players kind of struggle with that. And then there's obviously it's just trying to make it in the game. I think there's so much competition. The window's so small. Statistically, even if you get to play in the NRL, the lifespan of NRL players is like 45 games, and so it's a very small window. And when the 20s competition was up and running a few years back, the percentage of players coming through to graduate into NRL was like 5%. So I think a lot of that pressure on players, again, be the same, I'm sure, in all sports to play at the elite level. So there's a lot of that. Then there's obviously a lot of things outside of football, family relationships, finances, cultural disconnection. You find a lot of that with especially with our Pacifica players coming through. So yeah, hope that answers your questions.